Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is going to destroy the left-wing establishment. It's going to destroy the institutions which holds them up. It's going to destroy the bureaucracy which they hide behind. And I'm hoping a little bit that it's going to expand out and help destroy those same bureaucracies and institutions in other countries like the United Kingdom as well. I'm going to explain exactly what's going on in this video, so lock in. So obviously it's not exactly news at this point, but Trump won the election. It's very good to see. The American economy is in for a booming period, which we love to see. I'm going to make a lot of money off it. If you don't know, my business essentially helps experts and people with information sell that information online. If you're interested in selling information online, if you're an expert and you have knowledge to share, check out the link down below in the description and you can learn how I can help you. But essentially, the economy is going to boom, and Trump has been very specific in stating that he wants to make the American economy more efficient. And for that, he's created a new government efficiency agency, which is going to be headed up by Vivek and Elon Musk. So Vivek, a little bit of background for you. He is a very successful entrepreneur. He built a company which develops drugs. It went public in 2021, making Vivek a billionaire. Ever since then, he's had very outspoken Republican government efficiency, small state views. He's a big believer in family values and democracy and free speech and basically just American first ideals. He's going to be great in this role, I think. And of course, he ran against Trump in the primaries, but he was a massive underdog and really wasn't expected to do very well. His main aim, most people think, from those primaries was to try and become Trump's VP pick. Obviously, that didn't work, but he's been given this position after that. Obviously that didn't happen, but he has been given this position in lieu of that, as he was a big supporter of Trump, literally canvassing in universities all over the country, posting constant bits of content all over the place, just being a massive supporter of Trump. And of course, he's massively critical of wasteful government policies. Then of course, we have Elon Musk. We all know who Elon is, and he used to be a Democrat, but he's just slowly seen the left move further and further away from his views and beliefs. He wasn't a supporter of Trump in 2016 or 2020. He stated that he actually voted for Clinton and Biden instead, but essentially the leftist erasure of the freedom of free speech has just terrified him. So he started to act. He bought Twitter. He ensured free speech on that platform in 2022. He's supported Trump openly over the last year. He's been working directly with Trump, helping him actively win the election. And of course, he set up that infamous America PAC, which gave away $1 million every single day to someone who had signed a petition essentially promising to vote in favor of the protection of free speech. Massive, massive supporter. So the two of them have been put together. They're going to be the ones heading up the Department of Government Efficiency. It's going to be designed purely just to cut government waste. That means firing a hell of a lot of slackers. They're targeting a $500 billion cut to annual government spending. That's 30% of the US government's deficit at the moment. That's a huge amount, or about $1,500 in savings per person per year across the entire United States. And Musk has even gone further and said that he'd like to see them get to $2 trillion in savings, though I don't think they're going to be able to do that much. Now, what we really see going on here is a complete shift in the way the world has been working ever since Elon Musk came out against the left. When he bought Twitter, obviously it was a disaster of a business. It was a tech company that was massively unprofitable and wasn't seeing any growth despite having no reason for being unprofitable. So day one, Elon Musk comes in and he starts to clear house, which is exactly what he's going to be tasked with doing under the new DOGE, Department of Governmental Efficiency. So day one, he fires 4 individual executives who are running the day-to-day management of Twitter and saves $128 million in doing so. Then he goes on to fire about 75% of the entire staff under Twitter. Now, of course, everyone is on the media. All of these different mainstream media sites and outlets are out there saying Twitter's going to collapse. It can't possibly function with only 25% of its staff. Elon Musk is an idiot, a maniac. He's tanking the investment he put into Twitter. Loads of people are still claiming that Elon's lost loads of money on Twitter, despite the fact it's now a private company and there isn't any publicly available data on how much this company is actually worth. But none of that happened. Twitter was fine. There were a couple little outages, but as someone who's used Twitter consistently daily for about about 5 years at this point, I've noticed literally no changes to the functioning of Twitter. They've actually managed to be releasing new implemented features and everything like that faster than they were before with just 25% of the staff. Another really important thing that Elon did is he held key decision makers accountable for their poor decisions, and this is something we can expect him to do with his new government department as well. Brilliant example, Elon Musk in December of 2022, he grabbed a bunch of the finance executives at Twitter, which he just bought 6 weeks earlier, and he just went line by line through a spreadsheet of all of their expenditures. He did this for 6 straight hours with those finance executives in the room, asked them directly about every single expense, whether it's necessary, why it's necessary, and at one point, one of those employees fought back against him and basically said that this multi-million-dollar contract related to the website security was worthwhile and a good investment and that he was proud to have paid for it. And then Elon mentions that his much bigger company Tesla pays a lot less for their website security. And despite this, the employee continued pushing back against Elon, and so Elon just fired her at that point, holding that key decision maker accountable for her poor decisions. Next, we have this infamous email that Elon was sending out to countless Twitter employees once he bought the company. What did you get done this week? Just again, holding individuals accountable for their workload or lack of workload, I should be talking about. He just sends out an email. He asks people, what did you do this week? If they can't directly point to progress or work that they've done, they are fired. Of course, this would be massively effective at a government agency where just wasting time is the key prerogative everyone is trying to do. And then finally, my favorite example from Elon's buying of Twitter is that infamous server farm story. Essentially, on Christmas Eve, Elon Musk is looking at one of the server farms that they're running for Twitter that's very expensive, and it doesn't really ever get used. It's purely as a backup. He starts talking to some chief engineers and he gets into an argument with them. The engineers are saying it will take them 6 months to shut that server farm down. Elon starts that discussion off saying it can take only 6 weeks. They continue going back and forth, and Elon ends up saying to them, actually no, it can be done in 6 days. The engineers all refuse to do it, essentially stated that it will destroy the company if they do. So Elon just fires all of them right then, hops in his private jet, flies over to Sacramento where the server farm is, and personally starts unplugging the servers. And of course, nothing bad actually happened. The company, the website, continued to function as normal. This example of Elon buying Twitter is just a brilliant example of what can be done to fight government waste. Of course, after Elon did this, we saw a lot of other companies start doing the same things, a lot of tech companies firing their slackers and their wasters who are just sitting around collecting a paycheck, and we would love to see this happen in government organizations as well. Of course, this is only in the US now, but I'm really hoping that when people see how successful this is going to be in a few years, it then becomes politically untenable for governments in the United Kingdom and in other countries around the world to not do the same thing. And Elon's perfect for this because he not only has all of this experience from cutting those staff at Twitter, but he has a myriad of different examples of just awful government expenditure and waste from his dealings with SpaceX as well, with 2 absolutely insane ones right here. The first one is that SpaceX was forced by the government to kidnap SEALs twice and then stick very loud headphones on them and play rocket sounds at them to see if they're distressed, to see how much his rocket launching is going to impact the sea life. Absolutely ridiculous idea to have to do this, to spend money on having to do this. And of course, the government agency would have spent money on forcing Elon to do this as well. A brilliant example of complete governmental waste, which is entirely unnecessary. Another fantastic example is where Elon Musk obviously uses a lot of water to cool down these rockets in different parts. I don't know the details, I'm not a rocket scientist, but there's a lot of water that's involved when you launch a rocket into space, which does kind of make sense. Things are going to get a little bit hot. Elon wanted to make sure that he was being good to the environment, so he used drinking water, like the finest grade bottled drinking water that he could, spent lots and lots of money on it, and then obviously when they're cooling down these parts of the rocket or the launch pad or whatever it is, that water seeps into the ground and goes into the environment. The government then came along and fined SpaceX $150,000 for dumping drinking water into the ground, where it's just going to flow into rivers and lakes and the sea and then evaporate up anyway. Now, one final point that's going to be really interesting here is this is kind of already started in Argentina. Obviously, Javier Milei got elected into power a while ago, and he's been cutting away at that swamp. He's been fighting inflation in Argentina. They've had one of the most disastrous economic policies for about a century at this point. There's old economists joke there are two types or three types of economies, developed and undeveloped, and then Argentina's. But Javier has actually been having an awful lot of success. He's been firing a huge amount of government employees who are just wasting time and not actually being productive. And Elon Musk has expressed a great deal of affinity with this. He's been a vocal supporter of Javier Milei and what he's doing in Argentina for a long, long time now. So we can expect Elon to go a similar direction to that. Final thing I want to mention then here is that this isn't really a Democrat versus a Republican problem. This is a right versus a left problem. And just like how in the UK, Conservatives and those who are actual members of Parliament for the Conservative Party, they aren't actually right-wing, they're left-wing. They support bigger state, they support more taxes, they support attacks against free speech. None of these are right-wing positions, they're all left-wing positions. We see a very big similarity to that with Republicans in the US. An awful lot of them actually are just Democrats, except they're pro-guns and anti-abortion, and that's really the only differentiator. They're all massive supporters of sending billions of dollars overseas to foreign countries that hate them. They're all massive supporters of just enlarging the state and making it spend more and more every single year while taxing people more and more. Again, these aren't right-wing positions. They just happen to be in a right-coded organization, a right-coded political establishment, but they're actually left-wing people. There's going to be a hell of a lot of support for Elon Musk for the Department of Government Efficiency amongst people in the United States. There's also going to be loads and loads of opposers, in particular within the government itself. Almost every Democrat you can name is going to oppose everything Elon and Vivek do with Doge. But there's also going to be a lot of Republicans who you thought of as right-wing opposing a lot of what's happening as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. Now, if you are in the US, you are going to be in for a good 4 years at the bare minimum. I make no apologies for saying that the American economy is going to absolutely boom. If you'd like to make a lot of money over the next few years, if you are an expert, if you have a skill and you think that some other people out there might like to learn that skill, head on down to the link down below in the description. This is my business. This is why I don't make many YouTube videos anymore, because I run marketing funnels and essentially just sales processes to help people sell information online to others. If you are interested, link down below in the description, check it out.